Okay, so the first question is that the majority of us use social media to find new customers and leaders. How do you
Yeah.
find those business partners for your business on social media? Because we see that you don't talk a lot of the opportunity business on your platform.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. And I first want to start off by saying that I love how you guys in your markets do talk about the business more, and it actually inspires me to talk about the business side more. So I don't think you should change it at all. I love how you guys talk about the business more. And to be honest, I think it does, like I said, it makes me think like, okay, I got to talk about the business side more. So it can work, and no matter how people share about it, but I'll tell you how I get most of my leaders. So with my I think there's different you know different kinds of leaders, right? So my main leaders that I'm going after, like my top level leaders on my main front line, or like maybe the second level, most of those people, I've known for a while, maybe, or I strategically am going after, right? So in a sense, like it's someone that I've notified in my head, like this person might be someone that I really think would be amazing in the business, whether I meet them through my church or a mom's group or online or whatever it may be. And it's sort of like you're courting you're a boyfriend, right? Or a girlfriend. You have to build that relationship, I find, over a time period, and it does not happen right away. So anybody that I'm considering being, it's like I'm getting in a marriage with them, and I do not want to get that, very quickly. And so, most of the time, those ones I'm doing like having them come over to my house, right? Chatting with on the phone, getting our kids together, really trying to do relational things to see if this is someone that I really think could be someone that I want to work with for a lot of time. Because when they're your main leader, you're really working with them a lot, right? So if it's a main leader, I have found them off of Instagram, but and typically sometimes people might follow me from knowing that I had a previous business too. So I used to have a bakery business for 10 years. That Instagram account was like upwards of 200,000 followers. So I had a lot of followers on my bakery account. Some of them followed me over my personal, not that many, but some did. And they saw me start doing oils, right? So they do see me as a business person that's had multiple businesses. And so this person, might see me doing this for 6 years before they decide they want to do it with me. So for one thing is, I have to tell people that it's like a long-term mindset, right? If you want people to do the business with you, you have to show up like a business person. So even though I might not post about the business, like business, I come across to them as someone who does the business, right? When they think of someone who does the oil business, I come to their mind because I'm consistent, right? But I don't want to come across as just word vomiting or always business, because I think that doesn't necessarily attract all people. Sometimes it does repel people, and they want to know, okay, well, what is your business? Like, show me your business. So I'm showing them what it would be like if they did it with me. I'm educating, I'm connecting, I'm doing events, I'm holding online things, I'm making ebooks about topics that are important to people. So they see me as a top business person in this business because I'm consistently showing up with good value and content. So even though I don't say the business, I think by following me, I come across as someone who does the business. So when they're ready to do the business, they contact me and say, I want to do the business. So even if I'm not saying, contact me if you want to do the business, by me showing up consistently, they know I do the business, and that lifestyle and or how I do the business attracts them to me. So I do think a lot of people go in and out, and they don't show up consistently in their business, and that's their number one flaw of why they don't get business partners. Because if you treat something like a business, you have to think about it and think, would I want to, if I was someone, jump on business with me? And if you're not leading, if you're not showing up, if you're not growing, challenging, growing your mindset, whatever it may be, making it look attractive to work with you, you probably wouldn't want to choose that person to work with, right? So you have to think, am I looking like a business leader, someone that's going somewhere? So like back in the day when I first got started, one of my first leaders that I ever got, and we both had stores next to each other. I had a bakery and she had a clothing store, and she knew me as a business person. And so when I decided to talk to her about the business, and I sent her in a little email, and afterwards I was like, oh no, I should delete it, because I was like, ugh, and a little nervous. But she said she decided to do the business with me because she wanted to hitch her wagon onto mine because she knew I was going somewhere. So you have to tell yourself, are you going somewhere? And if you're not many people are probably going to want to hitch their wagon onto you, because a lot of times people are looking for someone who's going to make it a little bit easier for them, right? Will have them level up, has systems in place, right? That it's not like they have to reinvent the wheel, right? So are you telling people, look at all this stuff I have for my customer base, like anybody who works with me, they get all of that access too. So a lot of times I'm trying to, in little ways, showcase that if you do the business with me, it's really like you say yes, you show up. It's like a free franchise in a sense. I did all the work, and really, if you're ready to go, whatever your commitment level is, you can go as far as you want in doTERRA, right? You can surpass me, anybody in the company. It's up to you, right? And I can help you do that, but I'm not here to like drag people along, pull people. So I know that people come in a variety of stages. Most of the time, most people that come to me to the business don't really do it very much. It's a very hobby. It's like a little bit they do, right? But I still like that. I mean, cool. If you sign up a couple people a year and you do your LRP every single month, I love that, right? It's great. It's amazing. But I know that that isn't going to be my main business person or even my middle business person. So I sort of am trying to attract a wide variety of people and be welcome to everyone, right? Like if you just want to share a little bit, that's awesome, right? And I don't want to downplay that, because if you can get a lot of people to do a little bit, that's actually really stable for your business. Because sometimes if you just get one amazing leader and then they quit and you have no little sharers, well, now you're sort of screwed because you only had one person doing it rather than 15 little sharers. So it's good to do in your business to have a variety of people and not just one style. So that's a lot of answers in one. One other thing that I would say is on my oil account, I post mainly oil stuff, but I have a personal account too. My personal account doesn't have as many followers, but that personal account does get me business partners, because this is why they see my lifestyle and they want the lifestyle. So they see that I'm at home homeschooling my kids, that I can travel whenever I want, that I get to go on trips, whatever it may be that I'm putting out there, that I get to do lifestyle things and I'm in charge of my life a little bit more. And I remember when I felt more stuck in my life and I didn't have choices and options. And so by showing that I do have those options now, and they can see I take my kids here, there, do all these things, and I'm still able to do the business and be successful, they are attracted to that. So without saying I have a business opportunity all the time, they in the back of their head know, wow, how is she doing that? I would like to do that too, right? And then when I occasionally put out the business opportunity, then people say, yes, I want to know more. And that's when I can go in and I can really talk to them about the business. So I think it's really about creating this lifestyle that people want, and then giving them opportunities here and there to get more info about it. And so that's what I try to do the most.
Okay. The next question, it's also about the wagon story. And how do you manage to get all your leaders on board with your goal while they hit their own? For example, you want to hit presidential diamond, Unix 6
Right.
platinum. How do you take your team there?
Well, you probably won't like my answer because I don't think you necessarily can, like, I don't have an answer for that exactly. With that being said, I thought I would have hit presidential diamond years ago, right? Like, I mean, if we're being honest, I hit diamond within 10 months. And then in another year, I hit blue diamond. And now I've been blue diamond solid for 6 years. And in those 6 years, I have had to switch in and out my leaders. Now I've been able to maintain blue diamond the entire time, but I absolutely thought I would be presidential diamond by now. But the truth of the matter is that your leaders change, and some of them stop doing the business, and some of them have seasons of life, right? Like they might get pregnant. I got pregnant. Now, when I got pregnant, it didn't really stop me from doing the business, but other leaders, maybe they pause a little bit, but I've had leaders, that did hit diamond once and then haven't hit diamond again, and now they're just mainly gold, right? But I need them at platinum. I think it's really important that your leaders know that this is their business and you're here to support them in every way. But if they feel the pressure that they have to do it for your goal, for me, I would shut down, and I wouldn't like that kind of relationship. So I don't want to put my goals onto my leaders. If I want to hit something, I can make it happen myself by doing other things, but I don't want to pressure my leaders. So, for example, the best thing I think you can do is talk with your leader and see what their goals are. So you know what their goals are in their timeline. So you know if you're on the same page with them. Because if you're not on the same page, then you need to know, if you want to hit your goal, that you have to come in with some extra stuff for that leg, right? Maybe if that's your goal to get them to platinum, but they're going into a season where you don't think they're going to probably hit platinum, and maybe it's more maintaining season, then you know that you need to put some other little mini builders underneath them and say, hey, would you still be able to support these leaders during this time and help them grow and educate? I know maybe you're not able to teach as many classes, or you're not recruiting as much, but you're great at, helping people, learn how to do it. If I put people underneath you, can you support them? So that it takes it off of me, because I'm only one person and I can't support everybody, right? So when I get new leaders, it's very important for me to know where that leader is at. And if I can put them under that leader and that leader can take a hold and really, mentor them, then it makes me still have my free time to do other things. And I mentor them some, but, I need to know where my leaders are at. So, what I found is, like, right when I think I'm about to hit sometimes a new level, because presidential, it's a lot of things, right? It's not like, you know, it, if it was just based on like volume and customers and different things like that, I would have been presidential by now, but I've had to switch out legs, or I've had to put new leaders into legs and different things like that, right? And for me, getting myself to a place where stable financially, that I'm comfortable at, it made me at ease. And then I want to do this business long term. Presidential will come when I want it to. But for me, before hitting blue, I knew I had to work endlessly and tirelessly to get myself to blue, because I had to hit that for me to feel financially secure. So, with that being said, I made that happen, right? And my leaders and I ran hard and fast. And then, I thought presidential would come faster that, but COVID happened, different things like that. Leaders change in and out. I had to switch them things. And so blue is a great place to be at. I mean, I would love to hit presidential, and that's where our goal is at. But, like, I have an international team over in India right now for their convention. They're right now at the premier level after a full year. Now, I thought they'd be past premier after a full year, but India is growing slower. Right now, not to mean that they're doing their best and everything, but like, I'm not going to put pressure on them for me to hit presidential sooner. They're working their hardest. They flew over to India twice now. They're going at it. So I know it will happen, but I have to have a little patience with it. So I think number one is supporting your leaders and what their goals are at. And B, realizing that if you want to hit a goal, say if you're going from like elite to premier, you can absolutely make that goal happen yourself by working hard, right? So you don't want to, in a sense, do it all for your team, right? But there is some truth to that. The main leaders that get paid the most are the ones that are working the hardest to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, so like, you can absolutely build yourself to diamond without that many great leaders. Now, you might be physically exhausted. I don't recommend it, but you could force it, make it without amazing leaders. Once you're at diamond, if you want to maintain it, you got to get some real leadership in there, right? And that might mean that some of your leaders you started with aren't the ones you're going to go further with. And that's a hard conversation to have with yourself. And it's, you sort of want to run away from that and believe that those beginning people you started with will always be with you. But most of the time that doesn't happen. And it's okay. You can thank the people for, in your mind, being there to help you get through that season that you were in for all of those goals, and then realize that you've leveled up and you need to now find more people to level up with you. And it's really exciting and invigorating, and you get more freedom knowing that you're not stuck with these same people forever. If it's not for them and they can't keep working, you absolutely can find new people that want to do with you, and they can grow as fast as they can. I mean, some person might take 3 years to go to one next level, the other person 3 months. So don't tell yourself that you have to stay with those same people over and over again. If you're hitting a brick wall, tell yourself that you need to change it, change your mindset, and go attract new people, you know? And that's what I've done. And so, I did think, of course, once I hit blue diamond and diamond, that I would never switch out leaders or have to do that. I couldn't imagine it. And I've had to. And I had to put my big girl pants on and say, like, this is real business and this is just what you have to do. And if you love the business, if you're stable in the business, you can do that. But if you're not and you don't love it, or take self-care for yourself, then it's going to probably take you down. So you have to make sure, take care of yourself, stabilize your business as much as possible. And then you can really always grow as much as you want, but you can't put it on your leaders, I don't think, personally.
How do you do it all? The homeschooling, the business, the trips. How do you organize yourself? How do you manage to be productive with so much going on?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my personality type is somebody who likes doing stuff. So, I don't really want to be like, I'm multitasking. I'm a multitasker, which, sometimes is like, a lot of women are multitaskers. So I do multitask a lot, although I do realize that sometimes if I do too much multitasking, it's better if I just focus on one thing or the next, so I'm learning and growing, but I ask for help. So I think a lot of people don't ask for help and they try to do all the things. So for example, I never wash my dishes. I don't like doing dishes. I had a bakery and I did dishes so many years that finally, when I hired a dishwasher for my bakery, I was like, I will never do a dish again. I hate doing dishes, right? So in our family, my husband does the dishes. And if people want to come over to my house and my husband hasn't done the dishes, I will still not do the dishes. They can come over to my house and I will have piles of dishes in the sink. And I'm like, it is what it is, right? Like, I have to let go of the things that I can't control, right? Like today, I would have loved to come on, looked really pretty for you guys, did my hair and makeup. But guess what? I had to go to my gym workout this morning with my trainer because I'm trying to work on, keeping in shape and all that. Then I had to take my little daughter to Tiny Twisters gymnastics class. Then I had to come back here, put her down and get a little work in before our call. And I was like, do I get work in or do I try to like look pretty? And most of the time I have a hat on because I do not have time to do my hair. So I'm literally in yoga pants and a hat almost all the time because I personally do not, in this season of my life with 2 kids and now a baby, she's only 1, right? Like I knew that was going to be a lot to add another 1-year-old, right? On to, I have an 11 and a 9-year-old. And that's fine. That's just the season of life I'm in, right? So I'm okay with my house being a little messy. I have a cleaner that comes 2 days a week. And that's something that's really important to me. One of my leaders was so stressed about her house and she always wanted to keep it clean. And I told her, Beth, you need to get a house cleaner 2 times a week. I don't care if you have to go sell a couple more oil kits. You need to go get a house cleaner. You will love it. And she pushed back. She wouldn't do it. Finally, she did it. She loves it, right? So figure out what you don't like doing and then work hard, make some more money, and then pay someone else to do it. So if you don't like doing Instagram reels, if you don't like making ebooks, if you don't like, writing emails or whatever it is in your business, right? Whatever you don't like that's holding you back, let someone else do it. Either do a trade, pay someone, whatever it may be. So sometimes in your team, someone might be really good at doing one thing and you hate it. Well, figure out what they hate doing and trade, right? A lot of people on our team, one person, might be great at putting on events and the other person is great at sitting at her desk and doing an ebook, right? So figure out how as a community you guys can lift each other's burdens. And really in our community, what a lot of people like is our team is very giving and sharing, right? And I really try to hone in on that over and over again. Now you can't force people to share their stuff, right? And you have to, make sure they feel comfortable with it. You don't want people to feel taken advantage of. But if everyone does it, it's such a helpful environment because, like right now I'm doing this whole Elevate program with the liver cleanse and MetaPower. And each person can put their expertise in, and we all put a little, and it creates something really amazing, right? And then even if everybody in our community isn't helping with this one, we still let all of their customers join in our community, right? So delegating, I have one lady that when I can't do ebooks, I pay her hourly to help me bust it out. Now sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't really want to pay hourly. I'll just do it myself. And then other times I'm like, Melody, this is ridiculous. You want to be present with your family. You need to check out. You're going to be on vacation. Just pay her to do it. Right. So figuring out people that you can work with to either pay or trade so you don't do it all. At different parts of my business, I haven't had hired help to help me. But now I have a girl that comes 20 hours a week, and she's like a mini me. So literally, if I need my kids picked up, she helps with that. If they need help with their homeschool, right now she's outside in my backyard with my daughter, while I'm doing this. So I can still feel like I'm present with my kids throughout the day because I'm mainly here most of the time. But I have someone helping me package stuff, she'll help me with some reels. So figuring out how you can get help and then asking for it. And I think sometimes when you first start the business, you're really like, don't want to spend any of your money and you want it all once you make it, right? But it's really hard to scale your business if you don't invest in your business. And investing in your business might be hiring a babysitter 1 day a week. Because if you give yourself 1 day a week, 5 hours, you could accomplish more in those 5 hours or 2 hours, whatever it is, than trying all week long to get it, all, trying to cram it in. It feels very frazzling and it's not very enjoyable. And you have to take your business seriously if you want it to pay seriously. So that might mean not making a lot of money the first year you're doing the business and taking that money and putting it into hiring a babysitter and then or doing a trade with a friend. I do this with friends all the time. Like I just asked my friend today, my kids have to get picked up from their class. So I said, hey, can you pick them up this time? And then I'll pick up your kids up next time. And that saves me, right? Because now I don't have to do all the pickups. So really figuring out how you can simplify your life and ask for help or pay someone to do it, for me, it allows me to be able to do it all because you really can't do it all. No one can do it all. And at one point, you're going to hit a burnout level and then you're really going to hate it. So you have to make sure you have self-care and that you ask for help because no one does it all. So that's a myth. You have to tell yourself, I can't do it all. What do I need to do? And then what am I going to delegate or pay?
I'm gonna cry. I needed to hear that because I have a 1 month old baby right here, and
Yeah.
I was struggling with all of that.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
so
I mean, I think we glamorize it, and especially on Instagram, we think that this person does it all, but no one can do it all, and it's quite miserable. And I used to have a bakery with 40 employees, two little kids, and then I hit Blue Diamond and doTERRA. And I'm telling you, my body shut down at one point, and I was like, what is going on in my body, right? My marriage suffered. It just, lots of things can go wrong if you do too much and you don't ask for help. Because especially with women, you might think you have to do it all, but this is ridiculous. You cannot be at home with your kids doing all of these kind of things and at the same time run a super successful business. Now you can merge the two, but in the merging, you have to give up some things that might not be important to you as much as others for a season, or ask for help or pay for it. And that's what you need to do. You cannot run yourself into the ground because you will not have a business, and you can't teach your leaders to do that because your leaders are looking at you. And if you pretend like you're doing it all and you don't get any help, and they're going to think, I can't do this. Like, this is unattainable. So you have to make sure you teach them how to do this business long term. And I think a lot of times with direct sale, women in business, they just burn themselves out way too much, right? And you have to make sure you take care of yourself if you want a long-term business with actual business partners that don't give up and leave you, because they'll leave you when they have burnout if you don't teach them how to take care of themselves.
is what are your best techniques to keep your customers always excited about the product?
Yeah. Okay. I wrote some of them down, so let me make sure I answer all of them. Okay, so I do a variety of things. I mean, I do think social media is great for that, because in my social media talk at convention, like I said, I can't text my customers or meet with them every single day, to get them excited about the product. So by doing social media, I like that I can show up every day and show them new things, right? So that's the number one for me. The easiest way is social media because multiple people see it, right? Hundreds, if not thousands of people can see it. And I'm still in my pajamas or my yoga pants or I'm breastfeeding and I can do it. And I don't have to go out somewhere. Most of the time when I'm Instagramming, I'm literally breastfeeding, stuck on the couch, and I'm doing all my business, right? So Instagram for me is like a number one thing. Testimonials sell. You have to get testimonials from people before and after photos. So, if you do like a giveaway post on your Instagram and say, hey, I'm giving away this, let me know your favorite oil and why. Hey, I'm giving away this. Tell me what if you've tried MetaPower and your experience, but try to get more testimonials and then figure out a way where you can house all of your testimonials where everyone in your community can find them. Because one person that's new will have no testimonials. But if that new person can use all of your testimonials, it's like right away they can testimonial it up and then everyone's like, oh yeah, I really wanted that, my teen daughter needed it, right? So you need to make sure that you have a plethora of testimonials. And so I do like our Facebook group because in our Facebook customer group, I do so that's one thing that I learned to delegate. So I'm in a collaborative group for leaders, like a couple main leaders, and for 3 months we do Facebook content and we all have to do 2 business posts and 2 customer posts per month. And then everyone does that. So we do that for 3 months. So it's 3 months of content and I'm only doing 6 posts or no, 9 posts, right? Something like that, whatever, eight or 9 or something. And then I submit mine. And then guess what? They all submit theirs. And then I pay someone to schedule and post it all for me. So I'm not doing that. Now, I'm not saying everyone is at that level. I did not do that when I first started, but I'm just saying, right? Maybe in your group, if you're like, oh, like our Facebook group isn't that great, no one does anything. Why don't you guys say, okay, let's all decide for 3 months, everyone just write your content for 3 posts. And then we're going to put them all in and you'll get better content, right? So figure out how you can collaborate, but get other people just besides your voice, right? So whether it's like another leader coming on and sharing a testimonial or a story or a product that worked for them, because not every product that doTERRA has is going to be your favorite product, but it might be somebody else's favorite product, right? So getting other people's voices sharing, I think is really important. Like one of my main leaders, Erica Garza, she started doing this liver cleanse, right? And I kept seeing, wow, Erica's selling a lot of these liver cleanses. And I had never done the liver cleanse. I really can't even cleanse that much because I'm breastfeeding, right? So I haven't even done the liver cleanse. But I was seeing all of her testimonials. So I was like, hey, I can sell this liver cleanse. I'm going to use Erica's testimonials and then see if she wants to do a Zoom with me. And I'll tell her I'll do the ebook so then she can have the ebook too. And now we did that. Really successful. Now my community is still warming up to the liver cleanse, but I've sold at least 5 or 6 of them, and they're like a high ticket kit, right? They're almost 200 PV, and then now we have more testimonials. So then I decided, okay, let's do a program. So you can see how I took one thing where it's like one of my leaders was working. So let's take something that's working for somebody and expand it, right, to the whole community. And it takes a little bit of time. So now we're doing what's called Elevate. It's our new program for our community. And so I took one of my leaders that likes working out, and she's offering free online workouts. Then I'm taking liver cleanse. So I'm taking all of these different things and I'm getting the customer excited because we're adding value, education, and extra things onto this program. So you can see how I just went from one thing, a couple products, I branded it, right? Liver cleanse. I got testimonials, before and afters, and then I added extra value that they would get. If they ordered it, they get everything in this group. So I'm constantly trying to create new things that are people's issues. So maybe you could say, okay, all of my customers struggle with sleep, it seems like, or anxiety and stress. Let's do a whole education on those topics, or maybe weight loss, whatever it is. You want to be figuring out what is your customer going through, and figure out how you can educate on that in a way that they can jump into something. So that's what we do, is just try to really figure out what is our customer wanting in the season. I also do the Oil Tips Monthly magazine. I do, like I said, the Facebook group. I educate on Instagram. And then I do texting too. I don't text a ton. That's one side of my business I'm trying to grow more. But I am using the Key, which if you guys want the link, I can share it with her. I have, I don't know what the pricing is right now. It's about to jump up, but maybe it already did. But it's basically like a customer management program. The creators are Essential Connection Co. They do graphics and stuff like that. And so it's more of a program where you create funnels. So in a sense, if a customer opts into something, like they type the word sleep on my Instagram, then it will put them into like a text or email funnel where it educates them all on stuff. That's the thing that I'm trying to work on. It's a little painful, but that's my new thing that I'm trying to do to optimize and to make it a little bit more seamless in educating. But I would say for most people, showing up regularly on Instagram, making sure you're really hitting on your customers' pain points. And if you don't know what they are, ask them. Tell your customers, ask them in a question like, hey, let me know your top 5 things that you're struggling with, and then give them, things that they can choose so it's not overwhelming to their mind. But really to focus on that. And then in person, people love in-person events. So I'll do those as well. We just had our biggest one here. We had over like 140 people come, and they love that in person, right? But I can't do those all the time, the big ones. So I do a mixture. So that's what I would say is how I mainly am keeping customers excited.
Great, great. Some wonderful ideas there. Okay, the next question is, what are the first 5 goals you establish with a new leader when they sign up with you?
Yeah. So sort of going back to that question about, how do you get your leaders onto your goals or things like that? I would say the number one thing is what are their goals? So when I do a first business call with someone, it might be that I've never met them at all, right, off of Instagram, and I'm just trying to see like where they're at, right? So, and then I can gauge sort of from them. Now, sometimes you can't really figure it all out, but I'm really, what I found, especially if they're people I've never met and they're off of Instagram, it's different than like if I'm meeting my sister-in-law's friend that I know wants to do the business and I'm meeting them in person, right? Those are different things. You're qualifying people at different levels. Like, oh, this person's really committed. Oh, this person might want to just do the affiliate program or just share a little bit. So I want to see what they want to do. So I ask them questions about their schedule. Do they have another job? Do they have kids? What are their goals? Why are they wanting to do doTERRA? How many hours a week do they think they could give to doTERRA? If they had to say like in the next 3 months, where would they want to be with doTERRA? Or in a year, like, is this something they want to supplement their income, or is just sort of something fun that they want to do on the side? So I really need to ask questions to see what they want, right? So I know to put them in the right thing, because if you take someone that's sort of a little bit into it, but you put too much on them, they freeze up and don't want to do anything, right? So you want to see where they're at with that, and then I go with it that way. So if someone's like more on the lower level, I'm not necessarily giving them goals. The first thing I say to them is, great, let's schedule a class. That's the easiest thing to do right away to see if they're actually going to do anything, right? So I'm like, awesome, let's schedule a class. Sometimes they still even won't do that. But if they're somewhat serious, they'll go for scheduling the class, whether it be online or in person, right? Now, and that's where I see like, okay, I tell them I'm never going to drag anyone or pull them along or push you in the business. I don't have time for that. I have kids, but if you want to do it, I'll run as fast as you want, and I'll give you the most resources and help you do whatever you want. But it's up to you. So I tell them, if you're not texting me or my leaders almost every day, I know you're not doing the business that much, because if you're doing the business, you're going to have so many questions, right? Because everyone does when they first start. So I can tell right away when someone's really doing it, because they're DMing me, they're texting me, they're wanting to jump on another call, and then we go from there. So really, if they're telling me they want to do the business and really go fast, then I tell them the number one way to go fast is to have other business partners. Now, anybody can do the business without business partners in the beginning, but you're going to go a lot slower, right? And that's just the truth. Now, most of the time, you don't have a business partner when you first start. That's not horrible, but just know that that is something that will elevate your business a million times once you get business partners. And it also gives that new business partner something to do. Because sometimes when you're first starting, you're like, what all do I do all day long, right? I don't even know. But if you give someone a business partner, that person then needs to help mentor them, schedule classes, do a class for their customers. So it gets them going right away. So if you can get someone to do the business with them right away, it will change everything for them, right? It doubles their volume, all of that kind of stuff. So ideally, I tell them, if they want to do the business, we want to build you to premier. That's our first goal. You want 2 legs. Who are they going to be? Do you need a ghost leg? Do you not need a ghost leg? Do you have leaders? And then you could give some kind of a launch plan once you know if they have leaders or not, right? Because you could go pretty fast if you have 3 people at the same time wanting to run. Now, if you have 1 person, it's going to go slower, right? So I would say if the person wants to go fast, doing multiple classes in a short period of time is amazing, because you have so much more chance of getting a business partner or multiple customers that then will turn into customers or people to host a class for you next month. Whereas if you do 1 class in a month and that's all you do, well, what if only 5 people show up? You only have 5 chances, of someone wanting to do the business with you or maybe order next month. That's going to be a really slow kind of business if you only are relying on those 5 people, right? So getting them in the business mindset of like, how do we launch this? Like a real business. Like if I was going to open my bakery, I'm not just going to be like, I'm going to open it 1 day a month. And then you guys can come buy a cake from me for 1 day. Like that wouldn't, how could I have a business like that? That's stupid, right? So sometimes if people are thinking about a business with direct sales, you could do that. And they could be like, I'll do this little bit. I'm like, well, that's a hobby. It's not a business. So then I tell them, let's give you hobby, like ideas. If it's a hobby, hobbies don't pay you money. They might pay for your oils, but it's not a money making business. And I don't want you to think the business doesn't work if you're thinking you're giving hobby effort, right? So you really need to make your customer have your business partner have realistic expectations, right? And then figure out what their goals are, and then you're going. I can't really name like 5 things I would do because every builder's different, right? Some people want to build online. Some people want to build in person, not at online at all. So those are going to be totally 2 different things, right? Some people have a big audience that they can talk to and they're going to get customers right away. Other people have to go find their audience, right? They have to go meet new people. They have to go find a business that they can maybe do a class at. So for each person, you have to really figure out what are their top skills, what do they like doing, and how can I help them be successful in this business using what they like to do? Not let me force whatever I do onto them and see if it works for them. So that's why I don't really have any kind of straight business. Like, here you are, let me plug you into this, do this, this, and this. It's more like I'm getting in the trenches with them and figuring out how can we make this business work, right? And now that I have a bigger team, I always partner them with one of my main leaders. So it's not just me doing all the work. And I partner them and I say, hey, we're going to have Jenna jump on the Zoom. And Jenna's so amazing at doing all of these things. So you're going to have both of us, right? So I don't do a lot of team calls anymore. Because they normally are jumping on my leaders team calls. They all do their own weekly calls. And when I found I did a weekly call, it was like everyone's doing too many weekly calls. So I do almost all of my stuff just on Voxer. So sort of like WhatsApp, it's our like walkie-talkie communication. So I focus on doing resources, programs, retreats, bigger things like that. And then most of the one-on-ones, I might be jumping on a phone call with a leader, a Zoom chat, seeing them in person, but it's more a collaborative effort. Unless it's my main leader, then I'm like, I text them all the time. So
it's similar to the techniques to keep the clients excited about the product, but we want to know like the systems that you use to educate them. We know you use social media, but do you have like ebooks or a system like set up for them?
Yeah. So I've changed things, I'll show you mine, but I don't want you guys to think like it has to be that. And everybody does it differently, right? So you have to figure out what you like doing and then do it that way. But I'll grab my phone and then show you guys some of the things that I do. So let me flip it. Okay. Oh, let me take the blurriness off. Sorry, wait 1 second. Okay. So one thing I created, which sometimes I create things and nobody even uses them. So it's really frustrating, but that's why I do lots of things. So I have the Instagram, I have the texting, I have the Facebook, I have all of them, so that hopefully, however the person is, a visual learner, they like it digitally, whatever, it's all in here. But I can do these beautiful resources, and still, if they never click on it or look through it, then it just doesn't do anything. But I still make them, and hopefully people use them. So this is my essential oil e-library document. And this is what I send to new customers when they get started. It sort of is just like, a little bit about me. And then it goes into what our community is, a checklist for a new member. Like, do they really use this? Probably not. But, some people like that. So I have that in there. And then it has some basic charts for them. Again, this kind of information I have in so many other ways too, but I just put it all on there just in case they want to reference it. And then I have like, start here. Here's my essential oil guide. So this is like a book that we took, and then we typed it all out into a digital version, and it's a whole book that goes over all the different remedies for oils. Here's an intro to oils mini class, doTERRA app, our Facebook group, and then the oil magic book they can download. And then I have all of these, which is something I just recently did this last year. And this you can text out to customer, you can DM it to them. For new leads, you could send it, but this is where most of the info is if I want to send them. And I like this because if I'm chatting with them, I can always send this to them. So this is easy resources. So then once you click on it, it's a PDF ebook that goes over all the basic things that I think they would like. It links to my different Instagram, Facebook group. It has 2 different classes that I think are great for beginners, and that's it. So they're really, really short ones. So I'll show you another one. So here's Share the Love. This goes over Refer the Friend. So then if I want to tell them like how they can make money, here's the Refer the Friend, earn up to $600, share your link and all that kind of stuff. And you can see they're just really short documents, so it's not overwhelming to the customer. And it tells them everything about the program. Then you can see if they want to know how to order, they can click on this one. And then it goes over the LRP program, the benefits of it, all the stuff. Now, I did not have this my whole journey. I got to Blue Diamond without having stuff like this. So don't think you have to. But if you find that you're sending the same amount of information over and over and over again, like how do you diffuse oils? Well, why don't you make up a little something so you can send it to the people every single time, all on diffusing oils, right? Now, some of these graphics are from One Drop or the company Essential Connection Co., or sometimes I make them up. Here's like doTERRA's ebook. I'll link it to my Instagram where I have diffuser blends, but it's just really basic information about oils. Or then it'll be on like the kits. So anytime someone gets a kit, it'll have the kit in there. So these are like little guides that just go over all the basics of the oils and stuff like that. So I try to organize it that way, and I have that in here, but I also have it as a 1-page document. So if I just want to send the 1-page document, they have all of that just 1 page. If maybe this full thing would overwhelm them. So that's all my mini ebooks. Then I have class recordings. So we're actually making an ebook of all of our class recordings over the years, but right now I at least have 2 pages linked. So these are just past classes. It has the title and it goes straight to the class when they click on it. So if they're looking to learn more right away, they can start learning. Then it goes over the LRP in this little page, and it links to the LRP ebook, or we have a transfer buying guide to tell them how to swap out. It tells them that I give them more free roller bottles if they do their LRP order. Then I have a couple oil shops linked in here. And then I have doTERRA's, or actually these are One Drop. These are One Drop ebooks. And then we have team ebooks that we've done. So we link all of our team ebooks on here. So this is really easy when someone asks me like, oh, what do you do when you're sick? Then I'm like, oh, here's the winter wellness ebook. Check that out. Or, oh, here's oils and littles or whatever. So I just linked it all in one. Then these are our past oil tip magazines. They're all linked in there too. And then I have it on the business, building a business with doTERRA. Here's like an ebook. Here's a class on it. And then this is our business Instagram sneak peek group that we did on Instagram. And so that's what that one main document is. So if someone does want to dive deep, I have so much info in there. Not to say that a lot of people will look at all of that. That might overwhelm them. So then in a sense, I, need to show up in other ways. And then when I text them, maybe I just link one of those, or when I share on Instagram, I say, oh, do you need help diffusing? If you're my customer, let me know and I'll send you my favorite diffuser guide. And then I'm using one of those that's in there. Now, do they already have that? They do, but do they see it? Maybe not. So I'm taking that same info and I'm regurgitating it over and over and over again. You could email it. You could have it at a class. Like when you do a class, here's the QR code, scan the QR code and you can get the resource. So you want to keep showing it over and over again until they realize, oh, wow, this is the thing I should keep going back to if you do create something like that. So that's where I educate a lot. And like I said, I'm trying to work on doing more funnels and more technical stuff, but I don't have all of that set up at this time. But that's what my goal is, to automate it a little bit more.
I think we all want that document in our life.
Yeah, like
It's
everything
Yes,
is
yeah,
so
I know.
aesthetic and with perfect colors. I love it.
yeah. Okay, the next question is, how do you set up for a successful event? Like in-person event, what do you do the days before? What do you do the days afterwards? All that process.
Yeah. I sort of fly a little bit by the seat of my pants. So I don't always do it perfectly. So I'm not saying like, it's perfect every time. I mean, I've done so many events now. I'm pretty comfortable with them. So, I mean, my main routine is, of course, you want to promote it a lot. So you want to promote it in advance as much as you can, and then over and over again. Otherwise, you are going to have hard time having people show up. So I do think I'm not the best at this. I'm trying to get better, but setting up as early as possible and then keep promoting it with fun videos from your past class or photos, or if you bring a friend, you get a free roller bottle, or just things that will make people want to come. And then really following up with those people that said yes to it with like a text a day or two ahead of time really does help a lot. Now, do I do that every time? I don't, but that's what I would say ideally you should do that. Like, is making sure to do that. Hey, I can't wait to see you. I'm making up the custom roller bottles. Which one would you like? So it doesn't seem like you're bugging them, but you're asking them what they want for their free gift or something like that, right? Get them excited. Or if you have like an iToby scanner, people are like, oh, I can get a scan for free. Like, just make it sound exciting to them, right? That they're going to get to do. A lot of my events are hands-on, not just all sitting down, and people do like that. So I like promoting that part of it because that really gets people to actually want to come to the class, right? And then, incentivize them to bring friends and family. Then I always want to, depending on the size of my event, I want to make sure I delegate and make sure I have enough people to help me. So I'm asking my team members who's actually coming to the event, who can come early, if I don't have enough props or setup stuff, making sure that we all have enough stuff that we have. And then figuring out how we want it to run, right? Is it going to be one main talking point and then we break up into 3 activities? Is it like our last event where we went from stations? So it was like 10 minutes at this station, switch, 10 minutes at this station, and everyone moved from station to station. Well, then I need to make sure the layout is really good, that people would know where to go on the station, that there's enough seating, who's going to be speaking at it. Maybe like what are the additional like resources I can have at the station. So maybe they're talking about supplements. Okay, do I have an ebook that they can scan to get all of it on their supplements or something like that? So really making sure I know like what the purpose of the station is, and then I want to figure out what my end goal is. Like at the end of the event, what do I want to happen, right? Do I want people to host a class? Well, then maybe I need to have some hostess gifts out there and a big table and someone standing there like, yeah, did you guys know if you host a class, you get to take one of these home for free, right? Like if you're wanting to book a class from a class, you got to make sure you give time to talk about that. So that could be a goal. A goal could be that you want to make sure and chat more with people. Then making a roller bottle at the end of the class or doing the iToby scan makes people stay around longer, and you can have time to chat with them more and then close the sale. So giving an activity at the end that people will stay around a little bit longer for does help with that time to connect if the beginning portion of the class is more talking. So I always want to make sure and do that. You don't want to make your events too long because then I think people bow out at the end and then you don't even get the time to close the sale at all. So just remember, like if it's going past like, an hour of actually like talking and doing stuff, like that's way, most of the time you should probably only be talking like max 30 minutes, ideally, I mean, the event that we had, it was a 10-minute one. Every 10 minutes people talked, so it was a longer event. But if it's just one person talking, that's a lot of info. So make sure I'm breaking it up. And then I think visuals. So like I'll laminate a lot of times before and after photos, testimonials. If I know certain people are coming to the class that have had an experience, maybe I'll ask them if they want to share, and then I could give them like a free roller bottle or something like that. But if people are sharing in the class, that speaks volumes. So if you do have other people besides you that can share in the class, I think that's absolutely key to do that. And then if you want to talk about the business, you can absolutely present that opportunity and make sure someone's there if it's a larger class to say like, yeah, and if this is something that you think you would love doing, Mary's going to be there in the back and she can answer more questions about the business side. We actually have a business opportunity video that you can scan your QR code and watch it tonight, and we can answer any questions for you. So like letting them know about the opportunity, if they are interested in the business. If they want the freebies, make sure you have the freebies and they're out there, and let them know how they can qualify for them. If they're going to get a free gift, a lot of times, like if they have a free gift of some sort, you can maybe get the sale a little bit quicker. So like I'll give, a set of roller bottles so they can actually leave with something, right? If they purchase there on the spot. So yeah, I would say delegating, making sure that at the end of the class, especially when I was doing my own classes, just me, myself, and especially if it's a new person, you would love to have a partner with you, because it's very, very hard to close a class of 10 people if there's only one of you and you're trying to make every person feel heard. So trying to see if you can have one partner at least with you is ideal if you have a class larger than 5 people, because that's going to be a little bit hard to do that for everyone. Now, if some people have to leave, then I would say make sure and you get their contact information. Oh, no worries. Let me have your cell phone. I'll make sure and reach out to you tonight. I want to make sure you got all the info and blah, blah, blah. So make sure and don't put it on them to reach out to you, because they're going to probably forget. Tell them you're going to reach out to them, so it's not awkward when you do that. You could even set up, a time to meet up afterwards. Say like, I know this class was so packed and you didn't get a chance to. Did you want to set up a time I can meet with you, and then we can scan you and do other things? So have something that maybe they would want to meet afterwards with you if they want more information. But yeah, those would be like my main things: is delegate, make sure you have some kind of people sharing or testimonials or visuals, a hands-on activity, and then just don't make the class too long.
Okay, I think this is a question that some of us are having in our head. Do you charge for these events? Like for people to come?
So the doTERRA one that I just did that had 140 people, that was through doTERRA. So it was charged $10, right? So most of the time in the past, I don't charge, but I have charged. So it really just depends. I mean, really, it really, you could do it however you want. So if you feel like you're on a tight budget and people aren't showing up, or maybe like whatever, then charge for it. Sometimes if people buy a ticket, it is true that they'll most likely more show up, right? If they don't buy a ticket and pay for something, then maybe they have no skin in the game and they won't show up as much. Most of the classes that are at my house are a little bit more casual style, and so I'm not charging money. What I typically do is something like this. If you came to the class today, you can get one free roller bottle of your choice. If you decide you want to get started with a kit, and I'll have the different kit options out there, you can actually get all of the freebies that we're making today. So in a sense, I'm letting everyone get one free item. And then if they want all of them, they can get it if they do a 100 PV LRP order, or if they do a new kit purchase. So you can sort of see how you're tiering it to where you could do it that way. And then if not, you can say otherwise, if you're just here and you're wanting to learn and experience, you get one for free, and then each other additional thing is $5. Sometimes I've done that, because if I do like a holiday make and take and there's like 5 DIY things, it does get a little excessive if someone's doing all 5 and they don't buy anything. So then I'm letting them get one for free. And then if they want, they can pay $5 for the other things. Now, ideally, I don't want $5. I want you to buy the kit. So I want to make it to where getting the kit is the best, right? And that's the best thing to do is, why don't you just get a kit? Look, you get all of this blah, blah, blah for free or whatever in the DIY. So I try to make it that way. So really they end up not paying me any money and they're just getting started with a kit. But for sometimes, I had one customer that came 2 different times to a class. Each time they showed up, they got their one free roller bottle. did nothing else. And after the second class, I'm thinking, why did she wasn't ready to buy? Like, come on, this is her second class. You know what? A couple weeks later, she reached out to me on Instagram and she said, I'm ready to buy. I love that you didn't pressure me. Your events were so amazing. I love my roller bottles. They're working so great. And now she's on the LRP every single month and has ordered for me for 3 years. I think it's been. So you're really investing into people. And I don't want anybody to ever feel like I'm coming across like trying to make $10 off of them, because that's not my goal. What I'm trying to make them do is fall in love with essential oils and be a lifelong customer for me. So if I sometimes lose out on a roller bottle for free that I'm giving someone and I don't make money, to me, that's fine. But I know that when you're first starting, maybe you don't have a big budget. So then if you need to charge to make sure that you can handle doing this, then absolutely charge. And then if they get started with a kit, you can tell them I'll refund it, right? So it's $10 for the event. Now, if you get started with a kit, you get your $10 back off, right? So something like that. So it's a little bit more enticing. So that's what I would recommend.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna ask you one last question because we
Yeah.
are, and this is from Ariana, and her question is, how do you plan the valuable content from where you draw inspiration, or is it just like more organic? It's naturally like whatever you are feeling the day you post it, or do you have like this setup, like this is my content, this is my
Yeah.
pillars of content, all of that?
I wish I could say I had my pillars of content all mapped out and a map. I totally don't. I do not. So I know that works really well for people. And so if that's your mindset and if that makes you feel more grounded and that you know what you need to do and things like that, I absolutely recommend doing that. My personality is sort of more like go with what inspires me. So for the most part, I know that I need to at least to make sales in that month. Like, what is my goal this month and what are my kits that I'm selling, so that I'm not just like word vomiting kits nonstop. So it's like, okay, this month I'm focusing on the liver cleanse or blah blah blah. Then when I'm done promoting that, I'm like, okay, I still need some more sales. What's the other thing that I want to promote? So I'll know what I need to promote and when I'm going to fit that in, sort of roughly. And then as far as the content throughout it, maybe I know that, okay, if I'm trying to sell this kit, I'm going to talk about the things that help with that kit. So it's sort of like you're sort of dropping little hints, right, to get them like ready for when you actually talk about it. But for the most part, it's like, oh, my kid got car sick. Okay, these oils he loved. I feel like those sometimes resonate with your customers the most because they're dealing with real life too. So if you use something and it worked good for you, like I'm most inspired to share that. And I think that comes across. So for me, most of the time, it's what I'm doing. Like, oh my gosh, I just tried this diffuser blend. I love it. I'm not going to wait till next month to share it because it doesn't fit in my schedule. I'm going to share that. But I also know that in this month, I need to talk about the business some. I need to talk about my event. I need to talk about the kit, different things like that. So I know my main things that I need to get in, but then my filler content is just what I want to post.